All right, so what I've got here for you today, I like to call the pins and needles. It's a very unique cocktail you're not going to find on any other bar programs around Dallas. We used Roku Gin. This is a Japanese gin. Roku is a word for 6 in Japanese, and they use 6 Japanese botanicals that kind of capture the terroir of Japan. We've added a little bit of cucumber for that cool, fresh flavor, and then some rosemary to kind of bolster, I guess, the herbaceousness. This one is a classic sour, so we've used egg to kind of produce that fine bubble structure on the top with fresh squeezed lemon juice. We float red wine over the top. It is essentially for the aesthetic value, but you can also pick up a little bit of that wine characteristic, and it really, I guess, matches the flavor profile. So this one I actually developed with one of my guests at a different restaurant, just based on what he was kind of looking for in a gin cocktail. So we went through a couple iterations and tried it out. We eventually settled on making it a sour. So we call it the pins and needles, and that's due to kind of like the rosemary being the pins and everything. But affectionately, I nicknamed it the hero cocktail because the guest would stop by the bar and have one of them at the bar based on my recommendation, and then be ordering it for the rest of their dining experience. So all the other bartenders had to learn how to make it, and it's kind of an intense process. So it became the hero cocktail.
So this is your go-to favorite?
This is one of my go-to favorites for gin, definitely. It is never fails to impress, and I think that using the cucumber and the rosemary is a natural lateral to the botanicals in the gin already. So it's cool, refreshing, very classic style. So I think it checks a lot of boxes.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know. I've started to notice a trend with, I'm not really an egg white fan.
Yeah.
And I've yet to come across a lot of drinks or a lot of gin-based drinks that have egg white.
Right.
What was the inspiration with that? Is that for the decoration, or?
So that one definitely, if you get the proper bubble structure on the egg white drinks, it does help hold up the preparation a little bit better. But the idea behind the egg white is to have kind of like a silky smooth texture or mouthfeel.
Yeah.
So it's more of a sensory component added to the cocktail.
Yeah.
That's not aroma or flavor. So it's kind of, trying to hit a bunch of different kind of sensory points. So
yeah. So I originally met you here at Crown Block.
Yeah.
But I know there has to be, because you have a lot of rich history of knowing certain spirits, knowing certain cocktails. I just want to know, what's the story? How did you get into bartending?
Yeah, so that is a tale as old as time. I came into this industry as a dishwasher. This is when I was living out in Hawaii going to college. And I met a girl. She was one of the hostesses there, and we dated a little bit or whatever, but she always had this thing for the bartender. So she eventually, we kind of busted up, and she went after the bartender. So that kind of set me on the trajectory to, I told myself, I'm going to be the best bartender in Hawaii. I don't know if that necessarily came to fruition, but it was the inspiration behind getting into the bar. So I went to the best restaurant on the island and came in. I applied 6 times, started as a bar back there, and overcame all the hurdles. I had gatekeeping, bartender. I wouldn't even say that they were mentors. They were trying to hold back information. So I would go home and kind of do the work on my own, all the studying, cracking the books. I would go to different cocktail bars around Honolulu that were really reputable, and I'd watch the bartenders work and talk to them and ask them what they were doing. So all this kind of extracurricular activity, not just at work, accelerated my progression behind the bar. And it was a place where they said that I would never bartend, and 4.5 years later when I left, I was running the bar program.
So where are you originally from?
So I grew up in Los Angeles. I moved out to Hawaii when I was 22. And then I worked with the military for a little bit doing explosive detection with canines. And then when I lost that contract, I went back to college. So I was going to school during the day, and then the natural job that kind of pairs with going to college is working at night at a restaurant. So that's how I ended up getting into restaurants. So.
Hey, that's a pretty cool story. Well, I'm glad you came to Dallas.
Right on, man.
This is pretty fucking good. I
appreciate it.
This is nice. This is the hero's drink right here.